Welcome back. The DA in eThekwini reports that the Metro municipality has a shortage of office space for councillors. The party estimates that about 150 council representatives don't have offices, which impacts on service delivery. Councillors, on the other hand, are begging residents not to visit them at their private homes on matters concerning service delivery. For more on this, we are joined by Deputy DA eThekwini Caucus Leader Mzamo Billy. Mr. Billy, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Now, the eThekwini municipality has 222 councillors, of which the DA says 150, which is more than half, don't have offices. How long has this been going on for?
Good evening, Katlego, and good evening to the viewers at home. I can confirm to you that since the elections in 2021, there has not been an effort to make sure that all councillors are given offices in Ethekwini. The DA can confirm that more than half of our councillors, which is 59 councillors, with 60% of that does not have offices and are working in their homes, in the back of their cars, which is a completely sad state of affairs in the city. And we also do have some good authority that other major opposition parties, including IFP and others, are also without offices. Since the election in 2021, there's not been sufficient offices for all councillors.
The municipal spokesperson, Ms. Lindiwe Kuzwayo, has said that actually 192 councillors do have offices and it's only 30 who don't. How true is this statement?
Please repeat the question.
No, I'm saying the municipal councillor spokesperson Lindiwe Kuzwayo has said that in fact it's 192 councillors that do have offices and only 30 that don't. I just wanted to reconcile the 150 that the DA has said don't have offices, whereas the municipality says 192 actually do have offices.
Well, like I said, the DA has got 59 councillors. Out of that 59, at least more than 60%, which is about 34 or so, do not have offices in the DA caucus. And I do also understand that there are many other councillors in other parties who do not have offices. So I would not know where Ms. Kuzwai would have taken that figure from. Because the reality is that the majority of councillors do not have offices in the city, and I wouldn't be able to confirm the figures or the origin of those figures, because as far as I know and where I'm sitting from, that our councillors are without offices, and we're still trying to pursue the city and the speaker to play their role in ensuring that the councillors receive offices.
Do we know where the shortage of offices stems from? Why are there no offices for councillors?
Look, I think obviously, the city knew that there were going to be elections in 2021, and one would have expected that there would have been proper planning in terms of making sure that people or the councillors have got officers waiting for them when they got elected. We all knew that there were going to be 222 councillors that were going to be elected. So I think it is just an indication of the, poor planning in the city, the lack of, proper administration that we see, which is linked to the deteriorating state of the city's administration, but more so the lack of political leadership in the city, because it is completely unheard of that a city as big as this metro would have councillors working in the back of their boots. It is completely unheard of. But more so, it also links to this metro not even having a chambers for councillors. So we hire halls and fancy places to hold our council meetings. Now, this is just beyond councillor offices. The city doesn't have chambers for councillors to hold council meetings. So I think it's just that, it's linked to the poor administration, to the ANC's failure in the city, and definitely lack of planning, and, lack of empathy for the people of the city, people who are really looking forward to being assisted by councillors in their offices, but unfortunately, people are not getting the services that they really deserve because we don't have officers to help them out.
I mean, you make mention of certain spaces that are being rented out in order for work to be done. The same municipal spokesperson has also been cited to say that the leasing of privately owned offices has been an option, although a last resort. Do we know what the cost of leasing these privately owned offices is to the city?
Look, Katlego, the reality is the city has failed to administer and ensure that we have offices. So what they've now done, or what they did, was to ask councillors to run around and look for offices in private places. But that is just an administration nightmare for our councillors, because really our job is to be serving the communities, is to be in the ground and helping our residents. And, you know, we've gone ahead, some of us have gone and looked for offices, but it just becomes an administrative nightmare because there are so many things that are required. And I think that it's something that really should be done by the administration of the city instead of being passed on to councillors to go around and look for private spaces, which are obviously procured through the city's administrative or procurement processes, which is also another nightmare for councillors, who are just councillors and not administrators. So yes, there is that option which was made available to councillors to go around and look for offices. Some of our councillors have done that, brought the details back to the city, but they were turned down because, you know, people are not compliant, you know, there was this and that being needed. So it does become quite an administrative nightmare for our councillors, and therefore it's not something that we see you know, as working for our councillors. The responsibility does lie with the city administration to ensure that they provide councillors with the relevant support and infrastructure, or rather offices, so that they can be able to carry out their constitutional mandate, which is to help communities and ensure that they provide services to the residents who voted for them.
The DA has also accused city officials to seemingly be preventing councillors from getting offices. Is this an indication of that offices are available, they're just not being made available to certain councillors?
Look, we can't rule out that fact because there's been some incidents where there are offices available. I'll give you an example. The office of the imprisoned ANC councillor in Ward 101 in Mayville was available, but our PR councillor, the DA councillor, could not make use of that. Instead, another ANC councillor was brought to use it, even though that councillor was not a councillor in that particular area. So there has been, to some extent, some sort of manipulation of the system and politicization of the availability of offices. In municipal buildings, you'll find that most of spaces which are available there, they've been allocated to ANC councillors. So it is quite an unfortunate event of things in the city, where really, you know, people that voted for many of our councillors, the DA mostly being the second strongest party in the city, has been very much deprived and prejudiced to some degree in terms of the officials and the city's administration to provide what is required or what is necessary for our councillors to be able to carry out their constitutional mandate. So it has been politicized to some degree, but of course we are looking into that. We are trying to get as much details around whether it is purely DA councillors only who are, you know, suffering from this administrative nightmare.
Right. And what have the responses been from the municipality when you raise this issue with them?
Look, it's something that we have raised constantly from the time we got elected in this new term, which was in 2021. We've always raised with the Speaker's office, with the Speaker directly, to say that can this be prioritized, because it does become quite difficult to work without an office. But really, there's not been much effort being put into this thing. Whether it is lack of political willingness to do it, or whether it's just the pure not caring for the people who really deserve to have councillors in their areas. But there is just no willingness from what we are seeing. The Speaker, Councillor Nyawase, has not shown any willingness to assist and to ensure, because purely, I mean, it ultimately comes to, it becomes his responsibility as the Speaker of Council to ensure that the process is smooth, that our councillors have got offices. But our efforts and our cries to him have become, have not yielded any positive results. But we continue to speak to him. We continue to speak to the administration with the hope that they would at least consider the millions of residents of the city who really are wanting to have their councillors accessible. We are in the middle of a term right now, and in 2 years or so, there's going to be another election without a councillor officer, which is really sad for the people of eThekwini and what is being done by the ANC to sideline them and to ensure that they don't have access to the councillors.
So, give us some direct impact on service delivery that the situation has. I mean, if we're speaking of residents that are now going to councillors' direct homes and councillors working out of the boots of their cars, how much of an impact is all of this having on service delivery for the people of eThekwini?
Look, the councillor is a direct link or links the residents to the municipality, vice versa. So if the communities are unable to access their councillor, then the community is unable to access the council and the municipality, which is a huge injustice to those who have voted for many of us to be in this council. So what is being done is a complete disregard for the many people who are suffering as a result of this. So the direct impact is really people not being able to access services that they deserve as residents of the city, as ratepayers of the city, and as communities of eThekwini. So if people are unable to access those service deliveries, they're unable to interact with their councillor, they're unable to report, to get proof of address, which is something that is huge in eThekwini. People are wanting to do their driver's licenses, their renew IDs and what have you. They require a proof of address from a councillor. But a councillor is unable to do that if they don't have office space. As a result, some of us and many of our councillors do make an effort, and we meet residents on the road, the side of the road, in places that are really not safe for us, understanding the political dynamics of eThekwini and how unsafe councillors are in this space. So really, it's been quite impactful to some degree, and it's not safe for us. It's not safe for residents to meet on the road, but more so, it's just a pure injustice to those who are really looking towards getting the right kind of service from the people that they voted for. But I mean, it's the city, it's the administration, it's the speaker, it's the ANC that is to blame for all of this.
So what is the DA's next plan of action?
Look, as I've said, it's something that we continue to have conversations with the speaker, and I think it is something that we now have started discussing as well, to look into the competency and efficiency of the speaker himself. Because we also do feel that he hasn't stepped up. We don't feel that he has been efficient enough. And I think it's something that we are now really looking at quite closely in terms of whether we still have confidence in him in the city and in his administration as the Speaker of Council. You would recall that just last week he had also failed to act on a councillor who was in prison for more than a year, and the rules had allowed him to fire the councillor, and he delayed it deliberately so. Clearly showing that he's more aligned to his party, than to the code of conduct of councillors, and his job. So really, we are at a point where we've lost confidence in him, and we are discussing possible ways to hold him to account and possibly put a vote of no confidence against him.
All right. Thank you so much for your time this evening. That was Deputy DA, eThekwini caucus leader Mzamo Billy, speaking to us there about councillors in the eThekwini municipalities who are sitting without offices.